The storm had rolled in without warning, casting the sky in an eerie palette of slate gray and cold blue. Thunder grumbled in the distance as Eleanor West's sleek black car pulled into the underground garage of her skyscraper. The moment the door shut behind her, she exhaled one long breath she hadn't realized she was holding since the jet left Singapore. It had been a brutal week. $100 million acquisition had fallen apart at the last second. A betrayal from within. Her executive board had blindsided her. And to top it off, the media was already whispering about westtech's downward spiral. Vultures circling, waiting for a crack in the iron walls she'd built over decades. Asterisk. She didn't tell anyone she was coming home. Asterisk. Not her assistant. Not her driver. Not even her housekeeper. Asterisk. She wanted to disappear into the quiet of her private world, just for a night. To pour herself a glass of Bordeaux, collapse onto her Italian leather sofa, and forget the world existed. But as the elevator carried her up to the 57th floor, a strange stillness pressed against her chest. Something felt ... off. The door slid open with a soft chime, revealing the dimly lit interior of her sprawling penthouse. The automatic lights flickered to life as she stepped onto the polished marble, but the usual sterile chill in the air had been replaced by something warmer. A gentle citrus scent lingered. Her custom rug had been vacuumed. There were fresh lines in the fabric. The vases had been dusted. Someone had been here, and recently. Her brows drew together. She had left strict instructions. No cleaning crew this week. Asterisk. Slipping out of her heels, Eleanor padded cautiously into the hallway, every step echoing in the vast silence. Her instincts were sharp-honed by years of boardroom, wars and hostile takeovers, and they screamed that she wasn't alone. Asterisk. Then she heard it, a note, faint, floating through the air like a whisper from the past. Asterisk. Then another. Then a melody. Asterisk. Her heart skipped a beat. Asterisk. A voice rose, soft, smooth, heartbreaking. A man's voice, singing in Italian. The kind of voice you'd expect from the stage of La Scala, not the penthouse of a tech tycoon. Asterisk. She moved toward the sound, almost hypnotized. Asterisk. As she neared the living room, the music grew stronger, richer, a deep baritone, textured with longing, pain, and something older than words. Her footsteps slowed, her breath caught. She turned the corner and froze. There he was, kneeling at her mother's grand piano. With his back to her was Janitor. Asterisk. The man she passed by 100 times at the office, without so much as a second glance. Always in the background, always invisible. Asterisk. But now, he wasn't invisible at all. Asterisk. His eyes were closed, head tilted slightly upward as he sang. His fingers glided over the ivory keys like he'd been born playing them. He wasn't just performing, he was becoming the music. Every note, every crescendo, pulled something raw from inside him, something ancient, something real. Asterisk. Eleanor couldn't move, couldn't speak. Asterisk. The room around her blurred. The city skyline outside the glass walls disappearing behind tears she didn't realize were forming. The song, whatever it was, felt like it was written for her sorrow, for her exhaustion, for the heavy loneliness she carried like armor every day of her life. Asterisk. And he didn't even know she was there. Asterisk. She watched as he leaned gently into the final notes, as if he didn't want them to end. And when the last echo faded into silence, Miguel let his hands rest on the keys for a long, reverent moment. That was when she took her first breath. Everything in her world had changed, and he didn't even know it yet. Miguel remained kneeling at the piano, his fingertips still touching the final keys, as if he were afraid to let go. The silence in the room felt sacred, like the hush in a cathedral after a prayer. Then, asterisk. Why are you here? Asterisk. The voice cut through the stillness, like glass shattering. Asterisk. Miguel flinched violently and twisted around. When he saw her, Eleanor West, standing barefoot in the shadows, her expression unreadable, his face went pale. He shot up so quickly he knocked over the small stool behind him, nearly stumbling in his rush to step away from the piano. Ms. West. I didn't know you were back, he stammered, clearly panicking. I didn't mean to. She stepped forward, slowly, deliberately, her gaze never leaving his. The silence between them stretched, heavy with tension and something deeper. Something neither of them could name. Where did you learn to play like that? She asked, her voice quieter now, but no less sharp. He swallowed hard, his hands fidgeting nervously in front of him. My mother, he said after a pause. She taught me, back in Cuba. She was a soprano. Music was our life. I trained for the stage when I was young, but things changed. You're a janitor. Her words weren't cruel, just blunt. Disbelieving. He nodded, eyes cast downward. I am now, but before I left Havana, I was a conservatory student, top of my class. I had dreams, performances lined up, even a scholarship abroad, but my father died. My family needed money. I came here, and music. His voice cracked. Music became a luxury I couldn't afford. Eleanor stood still, her heart pounding in her chest. She looked at him, really looked. Tan saw something she had missed all this time. A man with calloused hands and a weary posture, yes, but also eyes that held oceans, pain, depth, purpose. I didn't mean to disrespect your home, Miguel, said voice low with shame. I was just supposed to clean the floor near the windows. When I saw the piano, I couldn't help myself. I only meant to touch it. Then my hands started playing. I haven't touched real keys in 5 years. Eleanor turned her eyes to the Steinway, her mother's most treasured possession. No one had played it since her passing, not even Eleanor. It had stood there, polished and perfect, but silent, a monument to grief. And now it was alive again. She looked back at Miguel. You didn't disrespect it, she said softly. You resurrected it. He blinked, confused. She took another step forward, the vulnerability in her voice catching even her off guard. When you played, it was like she was here. My mother. She used to sing to that exact piece. The walls. Haven't heard a sound like that since she died. Miguel said nothing. He only nodded, reverently, as if the piano truly did carry ghosts. Then, surprising herself, Eleanor pulled out the stool he had knocked over and sat down. Play it. Again, she said. He hesitated, stunned. Ms. West. Please. There was something in her tone now. Not command, not authority. Miguel slowly sat beside her. For a moment, his fingers hovered uncertainly above the keys. Then, they descended. Music filled the room, once more richer, deeper now, with her presence beside him. Eleanor closed her eyes, and for the first time in years, the weight in her chest lifted. The walls she had built around herself cracked ever so slightly. She didn't just hear the music, she felt it. Every note was a thread stitching closed. Some quiet wound inside her. When the final chord echoed away, Eleanor opened her eyes and looked at Miguel. There was no longer just a janitor in front of her. There was an artist, a soul. Come to my office Monday morning, she said. He blinked. Am I fired? She gave a small, rare smile. No, you're going to help me do something I forgot. How to do a long time ago? What's that? She looked back at the piano. Feel.